Well, this is another episode of Running with Laz. It's been a while since I've brought a video to you guys, but I got my buddy on the line here, Nils Antonio. How you doing, Nils?
I'm really good, really good, really
Yeah.
good.
Well, it's been a little while since I've actually chatted with you, but I've been following you on Instagram and Facebook, so I really wanted to catch up with you. I've interviewed you, I think, like three times now, but kind of wanted to follow your progression with your goal for the marathon world record. So everything looks to be going pretty good. You kind of want to just give me an update on where you feel like you are, and talk a little bit about too the 10 miler that you did back at the end of April, and how you felt with that.
Let's start with the 10 miler in April. um, was very happy with the time that I ran, considering, of course, had weather like they did at Boston, so wasn't really conducive to a fast time, cold and windy. But then the challenge was that Hermes changed the course. For whatever reason, the course was changed, and the course was horrible. It was a nice out and back course back in the day, and you finish downhill and into the bottom half of Edgewater Park. This year, the course went out as to the border of Lakewood, turned around, came back, and ran through the top half of Edgewater, and then took us back down to Lake, up to Detroit, and a bunch of zigzagging through West Cleveland, Ohio City, and back. Literally the last 2 miles were uphill, and then I should say 3 miles, because then the last mile was downhill into the bottom part of Parkway. So it was a miserable course, too many turns, and again, like the last 3 miles were climbing and going down. But the time that I ran, I was happy with. Up to that point, I hadn't done any true speed work, and just tempo work. So the base was there, and so I was able to go back and readjust my training to fit my fitness level. Training, wow, I'm pleasantly surprised. Body's the telltale part is that my body is holding up and dealing with this. At the end of this week, which will be Sunday, I'll have close to 60 miles for the week, which is a high mileage week for me. Of course, it's going to get higher. But I had a mile time trial 2 Wednesdays ago, basically a mile race on the track against some young kids, and was looking maybe I'd run around 6 minutes, and to run 5:48 again with minimal speed work, I should say. I'm very happy. My struggle is that these workouts are by myself. I had help with my youngest son on Tuesday doing some 400s. Since he's a 400-meter specialist, him running 80 seconds was no problem. So he just paced me and literally pulled me along for the workout. But yeah, it's going real well. I'm very happy. Today's run, if anybody has a Garmin knows that some of the upper level Garmins, you can go into the app, set up a program, and upload it to the watch. And I wasn't paying attention, and it was all jacked, and I knew it was jacked, and I was like, oh. And as runners, if you're geeked and you're ready for a certain workout, you're ready for that workout. When one part of it just doesn't fall into place, you're like, your mind's gone and you're just toast. I was like, okay, I got to regroup and fix this somehow. So what was supposed to be repeat tempo miles. So I basically was going to go to the track, run a mile, take a minute rest, and then run another mile. So it's almost constant, but not constant. You got that mental break, per se, for a minute before you go again. And I just really wanted to see where I'm at steadily, because usually most of my tempos are out in the road, but I've got fluctuations in the terrain where there's hills, very slight, but those slight hills fluctuates my heart rate, and I'm training all based on my heart rate. And they
Right.
do say if you're going to do a tempo and it's heart rate based, it should be as flat as possible, and the only flat spot is a track. So with that defunct, I ended up back out in the road and just pushed after the first mile. My watch was supposed to beep and then give me a minute rest, and it didn't do that. So then I just paused, stopped the watch, and then looked at it, and I was like, oh, goodness. I said, okay, I'm just going to take this out in the road. And I ran another 2 miles at tempo pace on the road. And during that second mile, it was uphill. I was like, okay, this is just not what I wanted to do, but it's where I was at in the vicinity. So, and then after that made 3 miles tempo, and then I just backed off, and I said, okay, let's see what I can push, just to push, and then salvage it.
Right. It's interesting that you talk about that Hermes, 10 miler, because my daughter and I ran it. We ran it last year also, I think like 3 or 4 years in a row now, but you're right. I mean, that course was, I
Horrible.
always kind of look forward to just like the out and back, fairly flat. You got
Yep.
that little bit of an incline when you go up, Lake Road up to Detroit,
Right.
but it's pretty flat. So it's a good course to actually, if you're trying to, hit like a goal run or something, it's
Right.
a great course. But this was, man, those little dips and up and down, and then going to into like Ohio City and then back on the path. I mean, it was nice, but yet definitely not a course where you're going to want to run a fast time.
Right. It was it was challenging to say the least, but it was disappointing. And of course, the word out there is that no one, if the course doesn't change for next year, no one, most of the people I've talked to and heard from are not going back, and that's a shame, because that was one of the that's a good course where you've got some decent scenery, and it's just an out and back where people can gauge and run fast time.
Do you think any of it has to do with, like when they try to close down roads or anything, that, they try to close down the minimum amount of roads? Because most of that race, when you think about it, was on that, I mean, a good portion was on that path. So, I mean, they don't have to worry about people on the road. Do you think they run into that at all when they're trying to set up these courses?
Well, see, they plan these at least a year and a half, 2 years in advance, because they've got to get all their ducks in a row. So this last minute change, I don't think it was because of cutting budget or what's the word I'm looking for? Changing the course to save money to keep it, on the path. Because even after that point, we still had to go out in the road. So
right.
They have not volunteers, but the police working overtime to get the OT to close it. I just heard that, despite what's been going on, Hermes is not in fair liking in Lakewood.
Yeah.
So they just stuck it to them.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I mean, I know that some of these races that unfortunately Hermes used to do, and now they're finding, another timing system to do it. Seems like some of them has to do with schools where, Sam and I did a couple races and Hermes is no longer doing them. So that's, it's a little frustrating. I think they have unfortunately, some St. Malachy's backlash when it comes to that. So,
yes.
But, hey, it was great because, when we were running, I think I was going to probably like the 6 or 7 mile mark, got to see you come running by, man, and you looked really strong. I said, this dude, he's going to hit that 55 to 59 world record. I know he's going to do it.
Thanks. I keep putting the word out there. I've got to find these young 20-somethings, to pull me along. For them, it's not a hard workout, but for me, it's going to be substantial. The 5:48 mile I ran 2 weeks ago was good, but I've got to string 26 of those at 5:30 pace. So
yeah,
I've got some work to do.
Yeah.
And that means I'm going to have to train faster than that 5:30 pace to make 5:30 comfortable for 26 miles.
Right.
And of course now the mindset is to run negative splits where I'm just a little under my pace I should say, over my pace at the first half, and then be able to settle down and run that pace all the way through to do it.
Right.
So, it was nice to have my son help me with the 400s, but then I'm going to need someone to help me with the 800s and the miles.
So when did you say you were doing Columbus? Was that going to be the race that
yes,
you were going to?
Columbus. Yes.
Okay.
Columbus.
And that's in what, early November?
October 21st.
Oh, okay, good. The other thing too is that, Lakewood or Rocky River, some of these schools are probably going to be starting their, voluntary cross country. Now, I don't know if they're going to be doing any like fast runs or anything like that. So, but maybe you could catch up with some of them if they're going to be, doing their, any type, you know how it is. I mean, these young kids, they get out, they're going to run as fast as they could probably run, even when they shouldn't be, but they may be a good bunch of people to actually, catch up with.
Yeah. Well, I know the cross country coach at Rocky River and some of the other coaches around. I guess more so because they're not, I don't want to knock them, but, for some high schoolers, they're not really focused. So my reach out is to the college kids who already know what they need to do for the season and they're doing it. So I reached out to somebody, no teammate of my son, he's at BW, and we're going to get together for a long run on Sunday.
Nice.
That'll be nice because I haven't been able to run with somebody on a long run, and then because he's not in school, the times that he does his workouts, it's going to be a challenge to hook up with some of the guys to get the workouts done. I don't know why he's doing them at noon because that's like the heat of the day, but that's when he's doing them.
Well, actually, if you do it in the heat of the day and you could do well, it's probably, a good time to train, because when you do your race, it's going to most likely be cooler. So it'll feel much more comfortable, hopefully, for you.
Hopefully, yes. But, 95 and 100% humidity, I'd rather deal with 80 degrees and 100% humidity early morning than the sun beating on you.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
Because even with the workout I did Monday with my son, I was supposed to be 10. I ended up doing 6. And even at 5:30, 6 o'clock, it was quite an ambitious task to do it in the weather that it was. Now, 20, 30 years ago, I would have done that. It would have been no problem. But I don't know. This old body is telling me, okay, this is too hot.
Right.
You need to quit.
It's something how that catches up with us, isn't it?
Yeah. Because I know, like you said, you mentioned the high schoolers going out and training. I'd sleep part of my day, and I get up and like he's doing, get up at noon, and then go for a run, and then I head down into the parkway and come back, and it's like, geez, it's 90 degrees. It's nothing.
Right. Well, I know I did a couple races. Like I did a race on Wednesday out in Hudson. It's just a 5K, and it was 80 degrees at the start, and it's just brutal. I think probably like 10 years ago, I probably would have done okay, but I mean, I didn't walk or anything like that, which is pretty good for me. But it was so hot at the start of that race, and that was tough. That was really tough.
It just threw me back to when I was training down in Florida, and how I start. I had to have a 20-mile run to do, and I'd have to start it at 5 o'clock because I literally had to be almost done before the sun came up.
Yeah.
Just because when the sun and then in Florida we don't have this luxury of trees to shade you. There's no shade in Florida. There's just no shade.
Right.
And then it reminded me also when I was in Atlanta getting ready for the games, Olympic Games, training down there, and just, on top of it being hot Atlanta, it was also a very hilly terrain. So that was challenging in that respect because I didn't even know Atlanta was hilly, and then found out it's the tail end of the Appalachian Trail. So that's why that terrain is like that down there. So,
right.
This is just a flashback to that. And I was like, this will make you tougher because it's almost like altitude training.
Right.
So when the weather cools off, like today, there was a couple of those miles I was running were like 6:35, 6:30s. I was like, 6:25, 6:24. I was like, wow, this is right there. And that was just a 10 degree drop in temperature from the storms coming through. That it made that much of a difference for me running.
Well, I tell you, you must have loved running this morning because it was just it was beautiful out this
Oh, it
morning to
was.
go out and run.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was.
just, I mean, probably for a runner, a little bit on the warmer side, but man, coming
Yeah,
from the heat that we had, it
you're right.
felt fantastic.
Yeah, it definitely did. And again, it was, even though the breeze felt good, because once you get the sweat going and that wind just hits you, just because that
Yeah.
cooling effect, and it just felt great. I was just bummed because now I had this workout planned for who knows how long, and who to think that I would have the perfect weather and I get this screwed up watch. Well,
Right.
screwed up person that programmed the watch.
So do you have like any races coming up at all? Are you
No,
not going to do
just,
anything
just
until the marathon?
I'll do a half marathon. I'll most likely do the river run, and just again, I got another time trial next Wednesday. It's a 2 mile, and then see how that goes. But just these little tests in between. I don't need to. I mean, as much as I'd love to jump in a 5K, 10K race just to see how I could handle running against these young guns, I'm just gonna lay low.
Yeah,
Everybody,
probably.
everybody can see what I'm doing anyway. So
Right. So the river run is what, like September? Because I'm registered for the river run. I think it's like early to mid September this year.
yeah,
So, um, is that like, do you kind of feel like that's perfect time between then and doing the Columbus Marathon?
yeah, perfect. Because then you get that done. It's early enough in September that you get it out of the way, and then again readjust what you can do the next 2-3 weeks before you just completely back off for the marathon.
Okay, gotcha.
And
Because I know
hopefully
that.
by then everything's clicked into place, and it's just okay. I can go all out and see what I can run for a half marathon.
Sure. Yeah, I know they got the. I think sometime in August they have that Hofbrauhaus 10K, which is all flat, but that would probably be like a little bit too far out, I think, for you. When you're looking to do like a end of October,
Yeah,
marathon. So plus it'll be pretty hot, that day too. So that's a little bit of a struggle, and that's another Hermes race. So I don't know. So
no,
one of the things too I noticed that you've been doing, not a lot of, but you've been doing, kind of intermixing some biking in there. Do
yeah.
you feel like that's good or bad for you when it comes to training for a marathon?
Oh, it's good. It's funny because I follow some of these the top elite athletes, and I see them on treadmill, I see them on ellipticals. So me being able to bike just to break up and work some different muscle groups is very beneficial, because I'm only going to have this for maybe a month or so before it's going to be wet and rainy, and then I just have to run anyways. I'm
Right.
still in the early stages. It's not really hardcore training for the marathon yet until next month, and then I got batten down the hatches.
So where do you think the focus now, when you start to get closer to the marathon, do you feel like it's going to be probably more speed, or are you still going to try to do some longer runs? I mean, what do you end up, like your long run, to end up like 20, 22 miles, or do you not go any further than that?
That'd be 22, 23, even 26.
Okay.
But that 26 will be literally a month out, and just recover from that. Long runs are not easy. I don't care what anybody says. It's still a pounding on your body.
Oh yeah.
So you still need that time to recover.
Well, yeah, and they're totally. I mean, at my age, I mean, I'm 55. At my age, man, it seems like it takes a good 2 to 3 weeks to recover from any type of long run. I don't run nearly as fast as you do, anyways, but it seems like it takes forever to recover anymore.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing with I think my longest run has been 13 miles, and I feel great. So to see how it goes when I do these longer runs, how I recover. One of the other things is that I've been cycling around my long runs and track workouts. So if I have a track workout during the week, that following week is not really a long run. I'll go bike, and then if I have a track session, I actually don't have a track session. I'll just be a tempo run, and then that following week will be a long run. So I'm not you know, trying to recover from a long run while also now I'm taking myself to the track to go do a track workout. But my legs are not going to have it. I already know that.
Right. Now we messaged, a couple days ago because I was like, bummed about I can't even break 30 minutes for a 5K anymore. So, it's pretty frustrating for me, but I'm carrying around, a ton of weight. I'm up at like 215, somewhere around there. And it seems like it is so hard to drop the weight. I know I'm not running enough and all these things, but, have you ate differently, or is the weight just really just dropping off because of the amount of miles that you're doing and the speed that you're doing it at?
The weight is dropping off, and then I haven't really eaten differently. It's trying to find the right foods to give me the calories, because part of the thing that I've done with my posts is I've shown how much I've burned. I'm supposed to be, if I wasn't training, I'll have like 2,080 calories that I've got to consume. Now you throw in my run, like today's run was 9 miles. It was almost 1,000 calories. So you add that to the 2,008 calories I'm supposed to consume already. I'm over 3,000 calories a day I'm supposed to consume. And so, I put in what I eat. I haven't done specific of what I eat. I didn't eat. I don't think I eat bad as it is, but there's a lot of times I'm way under the calorie count that I need to get consumed, and sometimes it's good, and I get, I'm only 900 calories off from what I needed to eat for the day. And of course, the app shows me that if at this rate in 5 weeks, I'll be down to 140 or 130. So,
Wow.
I don't want to get that low. 150, 155, I'll be happy. So, it's when you just got to find the right foods that are loaded with the calories and of course the supplements, because that's, one of them is like a protein drink that, 30 grams of protein, but that's already 240 something calories it's giving me.
Right. So if you don't mind me asking, where were you at when you started in terms of weight?
185 pounds.
Okay. So you're probably ultimately going to end up losing like 35 pounds, somewhere around there.
Lost 25 already.
Oh, wow. Dude, that's going to be, I'm telling you, man, I'm psyched about this race that you're going to do, because man, I would really, I would love to see you just, break that world record. To me, that would just be fantastic.
Yeah, I ran into somebody, one of the Soul Chain runners from Second Soul and Cleveland West Road Runners, and says, you're just inspiring these old folks, because, basically they've watched me grow up. They've watched me race. They've watched me, they've seen me from high school when I used to run with the Cleveland West and then do my thing around town when I did. And then now here I am at 55, and, I'm inspiring them and giving them a shot of hope that, hey, it's never too late to do something.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the way I feel too. Now for me, it's just tough to get motivated. I just got to get it in my head to do it. But I'll tell you, if you weren't training for, this world record that you're looking to accomplish, and you were just out doing, 5Ks, 5 miles, 10Ks, you would just be blown away, people, even younger people, let alone the people in your age group. It would be fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, when my kids were there, they were like, there's no one close in your age group. I mean, and they don't know. It's hard to tell who's in your age group or not when they cross the finish line.
Right.
They're just looking for gray hair and a certain body type. So, they just said everybody that was ahead of you was younger.
Yeah, so, it's funny. It's like with young kids, anybody they see with gray hair, to them, they're old.
Yeah.
They could be a 30-year-old with gray hair, but to them,
exactly.
They're like,
exactly.
No, it's I've done some, races here lately, and oh man, there's a couple of guys that, are in my age group, maybe just a little bit younger, but, for 5Ks, man, they're pushing 18 minutes, some of them just a little bit quicker. And I thought, man, that is, for somebody between 55 and 59, or, even 50 and above, to be breaking 19 minutes for a 5K, I think that's pretty amazing.
And they're working for it. I
Yeah.
don't know how much fun they're having, but they're working for it. I mean, because that's a lot of work to run that fast,
Yeah.
for the fun of it.
Right. Well,
If it is just for fun.
but you look at these guys and they don't have the beer belly or anything like that. I mean, they're just thin as a rail. And these guys have probably been like you. I mean, they've probably been running since they were in their teens and just have kind of continued to do it
Right.
their entire life. I think you and I had conversations about that one guy, Bob Thomas, who is now 63 years old now. He comes out and does this Westlake run, and he could still get it at 6-minute miles. And he's 63 years old and he still looks like he looked 20 years ago. It's just, I don't know
Yeah.
how these guys do it, but
It's just like what I've been going through. It's work. It's focus and dedication, and again, it's a lifestyle that they're used to.
right.
It's a lifestyle I had to get back to doing, and which I missed why I started doing this. But I had to have something. Too competitive. I've been too competitive for too long to just to be the guy that just jumps in a marathon just to do a marathon and just have fun with it. I'm not a fun guy, I guess, when it comes to races.
Well, you know what? You have an amazing goal. So, like I said, I love following everything that you post, and I would love to see you accomplish this goal. It's just amazing. Just like you told me the other day, pick a race, that's your goal race, train for it, and just, do what you can do, but you got to stay focused on it. And,
Yeah.
I don't even view it as hard. I mean, if that's what you're living and that's what you enjoy doing, it should come naturally. And I think for you, I mean, seeing all these things that you post, it's like, dude, I'm like, I see your times and everything like that. I'm like, oh my God, this guy's running, 740 for, 8-9 miles. It's like, I can't even run 740 for a mile anymore, let alone that. So it's awesome to watch these things that you're accomplishing. So,
yeah, but there are days, I question myself. There are days that I'm like, well, that are not good, and of course I get to share them. So
right.
I mentioned one time in my post, I just wish I had this media 22 years ago, 23, 24 years ago, and everyone could see how a dad, a husband, and a full-time employee made it to the Olympics.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this. They may say, well, he made it to the Olympics. Yeah, I made it to the Olympics. But, this is not the edge I have over anybody else. I'm working just as hard as anybody else. I mean, I don't have the luxury of going back to bed after I work out or having someone massage me down when I get done with my run, or get to sit in an ice bath and then chill and have all this prepared food for you. I got to chug a shake, drink my tea, and jump in the car.
Right. And that, to me, that speaks even more volume because, like you said, I mean, these, Olympic athletes that, like you said, I mean, they come in, they get their massages, the food's already prepared for them, they go to sleep. It's like they don't have to go out and work a job, 8 or 9 hours. And depending on what that job is, could be, that could be even more taxing on your body. So,
right. Yeah. The stress of the day, if you're in management, middle management, or if you're just a simple job and you're on your feet all day, then you got to turn around and say, okay, now I've got to go do a race tonight, or
right.
I'm on my feet all day on Friday, and I've got a race Saturday morning, and that's why I'm glad the races are on Sunday, because at least it gives me a day to recover.
Right.
If I'm on my feet all day.
Right. Right. All right, man. Hey, I appreciate you taking the time to chat with me. I'll try to catch up with you in maybe 2 to 3 weeks, but I'll be following you every day. So, keep it going, man. You are a huge inspiration to, not just the older guys like me, but I think everybody. And we're all, just excited and pumped about, hopefully you accomplishing your goal. And, even if you, I don't want to say that even if you don't, but just doing it, man, just doing what you're doing is fantastic.
Well, Bill Dieter, the owner of Second Soul, basically said the same thing. It said it's not so much if you do or don't do it. It's the journey that you're on, and
Yes.
everybody's getting to follow that journey that you're on. And again, I've just heard so much positive from it, and just like you said, the amount of people that I've inspired, and to them I'm a hero. But we'll see.
No, absolutely. I mean, you give us all inspiration. So, thank you for that. And like I said, we'll continue to follow you. So, like I said, I appreciate it. And, I'll catch up with you again in maybe 2 to 3 weeks. And thank you very much for taking the time to chat with me.
You're welcome, Laz, anytime.
All right. It's another episode of Running with Laz. And this has been an interview with Nils Antonio. And we're all watching your journey, buddy.
All right. Thanks again.
All right, man.
Appreciate it.
Take
All right.
care.
Bye.
All right. Bye.